But yeah, like most people aren't like can't do math. They're just stupid. Like so.
So I actually did a video. I don't know if you saw it, but I already did a video on how people get most statistical terms incorrectly and stuff like that. So I'm gonna link that on here.
It's not even the terms. Statistics, the math of statistics is not that bad. And the fact that you have literally had people switch their majors to avoid doing math.
Oh, I know this personally. Being the psychology was one of my majors. Statistics used to kick people's ass. It was not even a weed out class. Like statistics was usually like your second class you were expected to take. You took Psych 101 and then you took behavioral statistics because they go hand in hand as the background for learning psychology and behavioral science in general. But this became a de facto weed out class for people who were math phobic.
And I think that's the main issue. Most people are just math phobic because it requires work. Like math is like it's really not that bad. Now, granted, you do have some bad teachers. I will admit, fine, but every
statistics pretty much teaches itself. Like you can like download some SPSS software and
plug in the data
and do hyperstat and do like a hyperstat course lessons, and it teaches itself. You don't even need an instructor for it.
I don't know. I just think most people just don't like math, and which is fine.
A lot of people are math phobic because and I kind of blame that on how it's taught from an early age. If people knew that it wasn't just this cut and dry rote memorization, like that's definitely part of it, like most academics, but math is way more dynamic than people think it is, which would make it more exciting.
Every fucking day.
Most people don't realize they're doing naive statistical analyses when they're comparing stuff. That they're doing like naive like algebra when they're in the supermarket comparing prices and looking for the best deal. Like you're literally using math all the fucking time, including logic, which most people don't do too well. But I'm talking about intuitive logic here. But yeah, like statistics became like a weed out class. Or in philosophy, like a lot of people were dismayed when they took philosophy and they thinking it's gonna be this like it's gonna be more akin to poetry where they can just say any random fucking thing and it's gonna be profound. And then they realize, no, there's actually rules to this shit. And you actually have to learn formal logic, which is a branch of mathematics developed by philosophers who were also mathematicians. And this starts it starts kicking people's ass, so they're like, oh, I'm gonna just switch over to English.
And that's the thing. If you're and that ties into what we were talking about earlier, like the whole black women, the most educated group dumb shit. Like if you're willing to switch, first of all, if you think you're going to be rich or have quote-unquote generational wealth with a degree in business communications, you are a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and I mean, again, shout out to the Godfather, Kevin Samuels. He pointed this out as well. I think my only disagreement with him was when he said people shouldn't even go to college, period, if they're not going to take
STEM.
If they're not going to take a STEM field.
Which I also disagree with.
Yeah, because I disagree. Like, I think getting a college degree is rewarding in itself, and it will lead to you making more than if you didn't have one at all. With the caveat that, yes, when you talk about the trade-off with student debt and all that sort of stuff, then you got to make smarter choices. But aside from that, you need an education beyond high school nowadays.
Exactly, and that's why I disagree with him too. Like, most people don't understand. You're not competing with just your classmates. You are competing worldwide now. The world is bigger than the U.S. You're not just competing with people in the U.S. You have to compete with Ming in China, with Ahmed in the Middle East, with Musashi in Japan. You have to compete. Well, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying, like, you're having to compete with the entire world, So if you just think that, I can just forego college in the sense of this conversation's talking point, you're stupid. You're fucking stupid. Like
what he was right about is that you shouldn't think that you're gonna be making a lot of money if you choose a
low-paying major. And that's the thing. Most people don't look at the career paths. And again, I'm not saying you gotta know exactly what you're gonna do when you first go to college, because you're gonna change your major. It's fine. It happens. I'm a huge advocate for telling people go to community college first, because you may find out. You may not like doing business administration.
Or you can or even if you go to 4-year school, most places you can be an undeclared major for your first 2 years anyway.
I'd just say go to community college because it's cheaper.
Well, I mean,
it's cheaper to do.
It is, but I mean,
if you want to go to a 4-year, fine.
If you don't want to bother with the transfer and all that, you can go to 4-year school and you can just be an undeclared major for the first 2 years.
Yeah,
until you find what you want to do.
Yeah, you can take classes and everything.
And meanwhile, you're taking classes that you need probably for your core, your diversity, anyway. Your prereqs, whatever. But I'm gonna end this because this battery's low. But for the black women's talking point that they're the most educated group, like we were talking about that off camera, I was saying it simply doesn't make sense because they've never been the most educated cohort, whether ethnicity or gender.
And the only argument,
Nigerian women were. I don't know if that's still true.
I don't know.
But as an overall racial group, it's been Asian women and Asian people that are the most educated.
Have the most degrees out of everybody.
But black women never have. I think that was just a way of slandering black men. Which, yeah, they do have more degrees than black men.
But you know what's
overall, women have more degrees than men nowadays anyway.
True, because there's more women than men in the country. But you know what else black women have more than black men? More debt, more kids, more obesity. What else? More. Actually, I would argue they are one of the fastest rising groups of homeless people in the country. They're actually they're starting to go to jail more than us, because we are the fastest leaving population.
I just died.